Movie House Cinemas, proud sponsors of Tonight with Gerry Kelly. Treat yourself to a movie. Relax in VIP recliner seating without the VIP price tag at Cityside, Glengormley, Mackara and Coleraine. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Gerry Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the very first programme in this new series of Tonight with Gerry Kelly, coming to you from the E3 studios at the Belfast Metropolitan College. I have to say it is good to be back, isn't it? Yes, it is, it is. I'm a little greyer perhaps than you remember, but then isn't grey the new black, isn't that what they say? That's what I tell myself anyway. Now, on the face of things, this programme should look no different to any other chat show on your screens at the moment. But behind the scenes, well, that's where things are distinctly different. To explain, would you please welcome journalism lecturer and course coordinator here at the Met, that's broadcaster Lynda Bryans. Hello. Hello. So this is your home during the day?
This is where I live Monday to Friday. This is my new home. Well, I say new, but I've been here about 10 years now.
What is your role involved here, Lynda?
So I look after journalism. I coordinate the journalism and factual television course here at Belfast Met Film and Television School. And here we are in our fabulous E3 studios and our wonderful audience. This is a collaboration, you know, of about 7 or 8 courses in Belfast Met. All higher education students have brought this all together, thanks to you and our former colleagues.
So these are all media students. Are they studying what? All aspects of the media?
A lot of them are media students. The people working around us here today are media students. So my factual television journalism students are here, and many of them provided some of your research notes. As you know, you've been liaising with them all week. And there are photography and videography students involved. We have music students, music production students and music performance students. They have written and composed the signature tune.
Yes, and they did the opening titles for us as well.
Indeed they did. Our VFX students have done the opening sequence, the opening titles. So and then earlier on we had our meal, our hospitality management students provided our evening meal for us. Our makeup students are doing, you know, making us all look fab. And our wonderful audience here is being managed by event management students. So
it's a real collaboration, isn't it, between yourselves and some of the great professionals that we've had at UTV over the years.
Isn't it wonderful to be working with all these people again, you know?
Well, some of them, yes. But it's a great first-hand experience for the students. And I think that's the exciting thing about the whole episode of what we're doing.
Do you know, this is a fantastic experience for our students. And you know, the wonderful thing about Belfast Metropolitan College is that we work on a thing called project-based learning. So instead of being able to write a dissertation about gonzo journalism or investigative journalism or whatever, our students are actually doing it, actually putting together programs. So it's real hands-on learning for our students. And it's fantastic because how many years of professionalism do we have in our retired colleagues here?
Thousands.
Thousands of years. So, you know, they're learning something new every day from these former colleagues of ours, and it's wonderful.
So in many ways, you're training the new generation of filmmakers, of television makers, radio makers, and so on.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing, you know, and it is very much hands-on learning. So our students stay with us for 2 years. They're higher education students. They're doing HND. And after that, very often some of them go to university. We have partnerships with universities in England. They go there for 1 year and they get their honours degree. and then they go out into the world of work. And many of our students now are working in the BBC. We have some in our former home, UTV, and we have many working in their own production companies, doing very well. And of course, with Belfast being such a hub for films and you know, the media recently.
There's going to be plenty of work out there.
There's a lot of work out there still.
We've loved working with them. They have been absolutely brilliant, very energetic, very enthusiastic. What about yourself? Do you miss the broadcasting yourself?
I do. I miss the buzz of live TV. I really do. I mean, I do a little bit occasionally in radio, but you know, this is a wonderful career to have, isn't it? I mean, you must love being back at it, do you?
It's great. It's very exciting to be back. Very nervous, but very exciting.
Well, I don't know why you're nervous, because you're an old hand at this, aren't you? You're what a professional you are.
Enough of the old bit. Enough of the old. Lynda's been a joy and as glamorous looking as ever. Thank you so much. Lynda Bryans, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you may have been watching a fascinating 6-part series on the BBC called The Hotel People. It tells the inside story of Northern Ireland's largest family-owned luxury hotel chain, the Hastings Group, as they've recovered from the pandemic. However, staffing is still a problem with the hotels, as we see from this clip.
We're probably trained to a better level than their team at the moment.
Yeah, fair.
I need you to do this a little bit more.
Okay. I am. I've said to you, like, I'm happy to help where we can, absolutely.
However...
There is no however.
Okay, good deal. Resolved.
So we just need to go away now.
I know.
Have a look at next week and see what we can do in a positive manner. My argument is we need to make sure our own hotel's covered.
We would be assisted the same way.
Hello, Mum. How are you? Are you going up to the lounge?
I mean...
What's going on here?
Nothing.
We're doing a confessional about you.
I actually was just going to come to see her in a one-to-one to make sure that she really was okay. And then...
Be too sweet.
You're a sneak, cameraman. A big sneak.
Would you please welcome 2 of the stars from the show, the recently appointed General Manager of the Hastings Group, that's James McGinn, and even more importantly, the Head of Housekeeping at the Europa Hotel, Onya Finnegan. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, James, congratulations on your appointment as General Manager of all the hotel group.
Yes. I'm no longer based at the Europa full-time, so I oversee the 6 properties and the 2 independent outlets.
What an honour that was, because it's a family hotel and it's the Hastings family. Your name's not Hastings.
No, it's not. I suppose about 3 years ago, I was brought on to the board, and then recently our chairman retired and our managing director became the chairman, and then they asked me to take over the pivotal role of managing them.
What's it like leaving the Europa? You were there for what, over 25 years?
I don't think I've really left yet.
Have you not? Have you not?
Still there.
No, I don't think I'll ever leave the Europa unless in a box, but yeah, there's a new management team in it at the moment, but I still have an office there and an office at the Culloden, so I run between the 2. There's where my 2 biggest headaches are, you see.
I often meant to talk to you about the Europa Hotel has got this reputation of being the most bombed hotel in the world. That must have been something you didn't like to hear too much, did you?
No, I suppose I joined the Europa in 1996, and that was sort of at the same time of the ceasefire.
Yes.
So I came back from America, and it had just reopened. It was bombed last in 1993, and then the Hastings bought it in 94, reopened it in 96. You didn't like to hear it because for some reason that was the only reason you were famous.
Exactly.
Whereas now we're famous for the hospitality and the people that stay with us, and you know, Europe is the oldest hotel in the city, outside of what was the old Grand Central.
Is it the oldest hotel?
It would be, yeah, but it's like a chameleon. It keeps shedding its clothes and bringing to life, but it's probably the finest 4-star in the city.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
He's not fast.
What was it like? What was your reaction when they said there's a television crew going to be following your every move?
Well, when I started with the company for a placement for university, that was the old Lobby Lives was finishing up
remember
then.
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so I wasn't anywhere in front of the camera, and then this all came about.
It was about
and
18 years ago, so it's giving your age away.
I'm much younger than you. So it came about, and it was fine. It was a bit of crack some days, other days,
Yeah, you could have seen it far enough, I'm sure.
Yeah.
James, you would have loved it, but because you're a showman. Look, you're immaculate. You dress immaculately. You turn yourself out immaculately. You would have loved the cameras.
Don't even deny it.
I'm not. No, see, this is really tells me. Lobby Lives was a baptism of fire. I mean, don't forget we did 25 half-hour episodes, but it was only for BBC and I. And then when they came knocking again, from Lobby Lives, I was offered a show, Win with McGinn, and it didn't grow legs because I would have had to leave my job. So I was given a choice: either try TV or leave your job. So I stayed with my job. So this time when it came round and it was network, we were one of five programmes that were pitted in from Northern Ireland, because the money was coming from regional to us, and then we did a VT and we were chosen. So don't take yourself too seriously. The value of the marketing, some Marmite, some people like me, some people don't. Some people like the show, some people don't. But the value of the marketing across the UK and then further afield, we could never pay for that.
Couldn't have.
Then Onya becomes famous as my African sunset queen.
Sweet talking now, yeah.
It's what was needed, though, for the chain, wasn't it, coming out of the pandemic?
I think it's really important because hospitality plays such a massive part in all our lives. Without restaurants or bars or hotels, what would you do in your spare time? So I think it's really important that you get to see how hard, the behind the scenes is. People don't maybe realise, the struggles each day. So I think it's come across in a real positive way.
How much damage did COVID do? Because I read somewhere that it cost Hastings something like £16.5 million.
Yeah,
is that true?
That's absolutely what we lost.
Wow.
Onya probably knows better than most because the hotel, most bombed hotel in the world, never closed. COVID closed it. Yeah. But when they closed it down, right from the 12th floor to the ground floor, we're twice as big back of house as we are. So you come in, you have your tea, your coffee, your drinks, you eat, you sleep. Back of house is twice as big. There was a full team, of which Onya probably was one of the most senior people. They had to look after that building throughout all of COVID, morning, noon and night. I think she moved in, but she moved into the Titanic suite.
Obviously. She's living the best life.
Her best friend was called Villa Maria.
We all know what you do, James. You,
yes.
Onya, housekeeping. It must be the most thankless job in
Hardest
the hotel
job.
business, and the hardest.
It is.
You see, are your staff the chambermaids?
The room
What
attendants,
a horrible word that.
Room attendants.
We call them room attendants.
Chambermaid's very old school.
Chamber cream is very old school.
And we've just as many males on the team as we do females.
Really? Is it a thankless job?
It's tough. It really is. I have an amazing team. They really do work so hard. They're cleaning 12, 13 rooms a day. 25 minutes in their indoor room and stripping beds and remaking beds and hoovering and dusting. So they work really, really hard. And then, as you can see from the programmes, the states that some people leave the rooms in.
Well, there was one programme I was watching, some young fellas, they wouldn't get out when they were supposed to leave.
Put the mattress up against the door. Yeah.
And how bad was the room?
I've seen worse, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I suppose what the consumer doesn't appreciate for the likes of Onya in particular, you take a heavy Friday night, we've 272 rooms, or Onya's 270 rooms. And if you're a large touring group, those rooms could be tripled and twinned. So you go from 272 to 500 residents. So you need them out on Saturday morning before 11 o'clock so you can check in another 200 and 300 people at 3 o'clock. So the turnaround's quite tight, but she does a great job. She's been with us.
It's the nicest thing he said.
That's not true, yeah.
What kind of a boss is he?
It was fantastic. It's a love-hate relationship, but I really do. I married James, and I was actually talking to my dad about this a couple of weeks ago. So I came and joined the company for a year's placement for the University of Ulster. And the first 2 weeks came home crying every day. Hate James McGinn, hate James McGinn. James McGinn shouted at me again. He did for 2 weeks. But I'm with
Can't
the
say I didn't. But
No, he did. He did. But I'm with the company 15 years now, so I mean, he's not that bad.
I think the great thing, and what the show does, warts and all, like, it's not for the faint-hearted, but what you've got to remember, we were coming out of COVID. Yeah. We were in a world that we didn't know. You had to wear masks, stand 2 feet apart. We had to sanitise you every time you moved. We weren't allowed into your bedroom. You were only allowed table service. You had to be 2 metres apart. It was a world that we didn't know.
And on top of it, you were getting random inspections by council, you know,
Every
the
event
police,
had to
everything.
be, yeah.
Someone's
When
coming
you
in.
saw the Van Morrison thing,
Yeah.
like
I
that was
remember
on the night, off the night.
And that was
And it was
cancelled.
yeah.
On the night when Van Morrison was on stage, pulled.
Yeah.
I know you've plenty of things to do. You've some fascinating roles as well. Here's another little clip that something you had to do.
Once the boxing ring has been flipped for a catwalk,
Right.
the finalists of the annual Miss Northern Ireland contest will put on their show for 300.
So in principle, this is good.
After practicing in a specially created rehearsal room for 2 days.
Strut.
I don't know how to strut.
They do it. They always do. They put 1 foot for the.
I ain't getting off this. Right, and do we turn up there, back round?
Shut up. It is sturdy. This is fine.
For the past 20 years, James has been a key member of the judging panel.
It gives the hotel, it gives it a flavour and a bit of spice when they see all these beauty queens running about.
The contestants' backstage dressing room must also be ready for their arrival tomorrow.
This needs completely cleared. Then we put in the trestles and we need reels and reels and mirrors everywhere.
Okay, we'll get this all sorted then.
Do you genuinely have people in to do this?
Yes, don't we?
Somebody has to do it, James, eh?
Yeah. They have to get it ready and then I just lord it about.
What's the best thing about your job?
Best thing about my job or my team. They produce the magic. You know, everything's about an experience. I can only assist Onya. I can't get the rooms ready. I certainly can't cook. That's for sure. But they are the reason why I'm successful. They're the reason why the hotel's successful. And without them, I couldn't service the guests that could come in. But that's good. They're great. But they need motivated, they need pushed, they need cajoled, they need to be inspired. They need
That's
to.
you. That's you.
That's what I do.
That's your role.
Yeah.
It's hard to get staff, is it not?
Thanks very much for
I
that,
know,
doesn't it? I actually think the show has helped it a bit. There seems to be a bit more buzz about the industry again, but...
Believe it or not, I have people that want to come and shadow Onya, and people that have texted, and I've said to Onya, Pauline, is it? Mm-hmm. This lady has what she wants to come and work for you.
And this was because of the television
because
programme?
of the show, yeah, absolutely.
Why is there such a reluctance to come and work in hotels? Because, what is it, the unsociable hours of it, or what?
I don't think so much it's that. I think there was a real uncertainty after COVID, you know, would it close again, you know, and it was opening and closing. So I think people, you know, a lot of industries were affected by it, but, you know, hospitality suffered a massive loss. So people were maybe reluctant to get back into it, you know, in case something happened again that way.
We've had to change, Gerry, an awful lot. You know, it's not that the days of split shifts had already passed.
Right.
You know, the horror stories about hospitality. Hospitality is about fashion. It's about the movie industry. It's about cinemas. It's about theatre. It's about restaurants. It's about bars. All the things that we all love. Mm-hmm. So therefore, in order to attract people, we've had to change, particularly come out of COVID. We pay salaries bigger than we ever paid before. We have bonus structures in place. We do a lot with Hastings Workforce Wellbeing. We spend a lot of time trying to look after
I know you do that
the
too,
mental
yes,
well-being of not only myself but for the teams as well. That's a big thing. So we've had to proposition ourselves because everybody come out of COVID talking about their mental health, about well-being, stress, not wanting to do, and I'm a great advocate of that. However, we know there's people that swing the lead.
I know.
So finding the balance, but looking after your team, because they don't have to work for you. they've got to want to work for you. And how's Onya's team work for Onya, Chef's team works for Chef, the senior team work with me, not for me. So you build up a great rapport, and we have a really good team right throughout the group.
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't have picked two finer people to represent the Hastings Hotel than the
you.
pair of you. Absolutely fabulous. Would you do it again if they asked for another series?
She will.
Will
I think there's a real appetite. The show's figures have been phenomenal, like over 1 million trending #1 on iPlayer for every episode. So
Nearly as big as this show.
nearly as big, probably not quite as good. So I think out there's the appetite for something. What that something?
Christmas special, maybe.
Will you be part of it?
I don't think so.
Of course
not
he
this
will.
time.
Of course he will.
There'll be no show without punch, believe you me.
Absolutely.
This is the African Sunset Queen. She's actually coming out of this better than I have ever done, you know. So Onya
She's
has
just
her
a nicer person.
Onya and Rose her counterpart as well. But actually, Kyle, the young people that got involved in it loved it. They've loved the exposure. I suppose the trolling hasn't been too bad because everybody was very well versed on it.
Yeah. Because that was the thing with Lobby Lives, you know, social media wasn't a big thing back then, so
you're known all over.
She's known all over.
Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Onya and James, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Okay. Plenty more to come. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you then. Bye. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eli Mikhailova, and I'm doing my second year in creative media production and factual television. In today's show, I'm working as a camera operator, and I hope to work in the TV and film industry in the near future.
Ready for an epic family day out? Then head over to the Jet Centre. Explore the excitement of Alley Cat soft play. Slide into action with hours of fun, while also getting time for a coffee break. Arcade more your thing? Say no more. Play games and win tickets. Feeling competitive? There's a game for everyone. Become gem mining experts at the Jet Centre. See what gems, stones, arrowheads or fossils you'll discover. Golf more your thing? Practice your game on the North Coast with mini golf. Lots of fun to be had on this 18-hole outdoor mini golf course. Or join us for bowling or a movie. The Jet Centre. Entertainment for everyone.
Some stays stay with you forever. Gift an experience to remember with a Hastings Hotels gift card. Buy online at hastingshotels.com.
Welcome back. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't always decide if I like a song or not after hearing it just once. It usually takes me to listen to it 2 or 3 times before I'm absolutely sure. However, when I first heard the song Sailor Town over 10 years ago, I had no doubts. It was written by my next guest, the hugely talented singer-songwriter Anthony Toner, and I'm absolutely delighted to say that Anthony is with us tonight, and as a favour to me, he's going to sing it for us. So with Sailor Town, would you please welcome the brilliant Anthony Toner.
Me and Elaine, we've been hanging around in what was once Sailor Town, drinking cheap red wine by the light of the Belfast moon. There's nobody left here that works at the docks. It's all urban renewal and apartment blocks. Summer is fading, winter will be coming soon. The walls in the city have a lot to say about the UVF and the IRA. It's cold by the river, but the sky is full of stars. But these walls say nothing about who I am when I'm singing in the garden at the Rotterdam, doing Brown-Eyed Girl and whiskey in the jar. And I know they're tearing it down street by street. Look out below, there goes the ground beneath your feet. Elaine's mother thinks I'm some kind of crook. She meets me at the door with a dirty look. My welcome round there's starting to wear thin. 'Cause I promised everybody I would knuckle down, but my grades weren't good enough this time round. All my time runs out in the end. Tearing it down street by street. Look out below, there goes the ground beneath your feet. Me, I can't wait to be rid of school, but Elaine's got a place at Liverpool. By the time September comes, she'll be gone. She says she'll text me every day, but that's something she feels she has to say. She'll call me once at Christmas, then move on. Me and Elaine, we've been hanging around in what was once Sailor Town.
Great to see you.
What a pleasure.
I love it.
To see you.
Love it.
Special request.
It's hard. Well, I love that song. You know I love that song.
I know you do.
It's hard to believe it's, what, 10, 11 years since you wrote it?
Almost 12 years, I think. Yeah, January. It'll be 12 years in January, I think.
And I know it was the late Jerry Anderson that helped it along in many ways.
Yeah.
Didn't
He played it until people rang in and complained, which is great because that just made him worse.
That would have been him. Yeah. You see, some of the things I love about your music, it's not just the beautiful melodies that you have, but it's your way with words, and you tell a story in your songs. Does that come from your time as a journalist, that way that you have with words?
I think so. I kind of, I always thought that one of the great wastes of time are writing songs that say, oh, baby, baby, you're the one for me.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing. I thought,
yes,
surely there's something more you can do with this great relationship that you supposedly have. Can you say something more expressive about it? So I've always wanted to try and to do something that was more heightened with language. And I grew up, I read a lot of poetry when I was young. And I think a lot of that kind of mode of expression went in. So yeah, the journalism was great in the sense that you felt that if you were going to tell a story, it had to have a beginning and a middle and an end, that you had to make some sense out of the thing, you know. So yeah, I think, and also the rigor of using language, not to waste words and not to use the wrong words and to make sure that it all makes sense.
You write a blog in your own web pages, which is fascinating.
Oh,
They're absolutely fascinating.
you.
I'd encourage anybody just to go along to and just to read your blogs. I find them fascinating, absolutely.
Thank you. And I've kind of got out of the habit of it recently, but I want to get back into it. I have some pieces that I've saved up that I've been meaning to start putting up on the blog, because it used to get a really lovely reaction when I was doing it more regularly.
So when did you take leave of your senses and go full time as a musician?
I don't know. It was a hazy time. I think about 7 or 8 years ago now, I suddenly kind of took a look at my personal finances and looked at the kind of gigs that I was doing, and I thought, you know, with a push, I could maybe actually get to the stage where this is self-contained, because my outgoings, thankfully, aren't that huge. And I started with 2 or 3 pieces of work that people had commissioned me to do, and I kind of looked at the finances and thought, I could almost make a go of this. And I said to myself, I had some savings, and I thought, if I start to devour those, I'll start filling in job applications and go back. And 7 years on, I've managed to kind of keep the ball in motion.
It must be very difficult to make a living as a musician in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Are there enough gigs there, enough venues to do that?
Well, I do a few other things. I help out with a couple of festivals, you know, because I have background in working in arts programming, so I kind of help people put festivals together, and I'll write a bit of copy for the website and the brochure and things like that. Right. So there's a few extra sort of irons in the fire, and I play with the Ronnie Greer Blues Band.
Of course.
So there's a few things that kind of supplement it. But yeah, it's very precarious.
Well, because of that, did you ever think of leaving these shores? You've been to America.
Yeah.
Would you like to have stayed there, have a go there?
I don't know. I think it's so vast. It's so vast. And the way that music is consumed now with streaming and so on.
Yeah, you don't have to go to America anymore.
There are so many other people out there making music like me, so it's almost impossible to be heard. I always liked the idea of kind of staying here and building a tribe here, and trying to sustain it that way. But yeah, it's a moving picture. As my old friend Johnny Scott once said, I find my diary for next year shows a great deal of potential.
Are you still writing? Are you still writing much?
I'm just about to put out the biggest collection of songs that I've ever released. I've got an album called The Book of Absolution to come out at the end of November. With
and this is all brand new stuff?
Brand new material, 27 songs, a double album.
You see, that costs money.
It does. Believe me, it does. But I thought, somebody had said to me, well, why didn't you do 2 albums and keep one of them for next year? And I thought, well, the songs all showed up. They did their job. I should honour them and put them all out at the same way, break up the family, you know. And also I thought, if I'm going to be an anachronism, why not go all the way and do a double album, you know?
You're going to be very busy the whole of November.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us what's happening there.
I'm away on tour throughout England, Scotland and Wales as special guest of Barbara Dixon and Nick Holland on Barbara's November tour. And we are literally everywhere from Musselburgh down to Stroud and London and over to Wales, South Wales and Newport and up into the Pennines. It's going to be wonderful.
How did you and Barbara Dixon get together?
Well, Barbara had come over to do some Irish dates. David Hull, the promoter, had brought Barbara over to do some gigs, and the suggestion was that she would have a local support act. And of course, she didn't know any artists over there. Now, the story I heard was that she was sent videos of 3 artists and that she chose me out of the 3. I never found out who the other 2 were.
Oh, the ones that came first and second?
Yeah. Oh, the ones that weren't available.
That weren't available, yeah.
So I did this Irish tour with Barbara, and at the end of it she said, would you consider coming over to do gigs in England and Scotland? And of course I said yeah. And 6 years on, or 7 years on maybe now it is, I've kind of become part of that tribe when she does her acoustic tour.
Yeah, she's a folky person, isn't she? That's her.
That was her roots. Yeah.
That was her roots. Yeah. Well, what a great performer.
Oh, she's superb, and her voice is still great. You know, that lovely kind of throaty voice that she had is still really, really present, and a great storyteller.
Right, you're going to do one more song for us.
I am.
Now, I only heard you do this at rehearsals. Tell us about it, because I find it fascinating.
Oh yes, this. I always loved songs that were monologues. You know, people like Guy Clark and Chris Christopherson, and of course Burl Ives and Jim Reeves and a load of those older sort of artists had done songs that were spoken word, and I always wanted to do one of those. And I recorded an album a few years ago called Ink that had a lot of songs on it about childhood, and this was a kind of a memory from childhood that I thought would make an interesting spoken word one, so I kind of have fashioned it into that.
It's very interesting. What's it called?
It's called Exit Wounds.
Would you go over and do it for us?
I will. Thanks.
As Anthony goes over to do this, you'll find this fascinating. I did. Can I say, we were talking about Barbara Dixon and Anthony playing with her. They're coming to the Grand Opera House in Belfast on the 18th of March next year, so early warning, get your tickets for that. But this one is called Exit Wounds. Welcome once again, Anthony Toner.
Friend's dad had this pistol and he kept it in a bedroom drawer. Now, this was life during peacetime. I don't even know what he had it for. It wasn't even in a holster or any kind of presentation box. It was just lying in this drawer between his underpants and socks. Now, he checked the safety catch and he squared up like a man, and then he told me it was loaded and he placed it in my hand. My friend had seen this all before, and he sat at the foot of the bed. He knew when his dad was on the rum and coke, it would sometimes turn his head. Now, I'd seen 1,000 guns on TV, held by cowboys and detectives, but this was real and black and heavy and much more serious than expected. But I pointed it at the wardrobe and I practiced looking grim. And then I waved it at the curtains and gladly gave it back to him. His wife was absolutely furious when she found out what he'd done. I mean, come on, a grown man and two 12-year-olds in a bedroom with a loaded gun. She knew better than he did how teenage minds unfold, how if you hold a loaded gun, it's something you never quite unhold. But my friend and me grew up loaded, with our safeties mostly on, and it's strange to think that the father and the pistol are now both gone. And the underpants in the drawer, even the bedroom we stood in, the bullets and the trigger and the firing pin, and in this country full of exit wounds and heartaches by the ton, to this day that's still the only time I ever held a gun. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love that, Anthony. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks a million. Okay, we're going to take another break now, but go nowhere. Coming up, the glitz and glamour of drag. Love it or loathe it, it's here to stay. See you in a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm David Hanna. I do level 5 motion graphics in Belfast Met. I worked on the title sequence for the Gerry Kelly show. After this, I hope to receive a job in the industry.
Some stays stay with you forever. Gift an experience to remember with a Hastings Hotels gift card. Buy online at hastingshotels.com.
There's no denying that due to the phenomenal success of the TV series RuPaul's Drag Race UK, among other things, drag artists all over the country are enjoying a newfound acceptance and a place in our society. There's a growing drag scene here in Northern Ireland, and slowly but surely, the negative perceptions that used to exist are being broken down. Well, let's now meet two of Northern Ireland's finest, and would you please welcome first the uber chic lady Portia de Monte. And showgirl extravaganza Onya Becks. Well, hello. Ladies, I think it's well. Is that what you do? I don't know what you do. Let's have a little twirl. It's worth a twirl, isn't it?
The Rose of Tralee.
Look at that. Sit down, ladies. Thank you for.
I just like attention.
Thanks. I think both of you like attention. Of
course.
Is that why you do it?
Well, that and the paycheck.
How long did it take you to look the way you look now?
Well,
would like to go first?
My look has been an evolution. So I'm doing this 23 years, right? So whenever I first started, I looked a bit like that. But now I'm a polished and finished look. But it takes me sort of from stepping into the shower to leaving my front door about 3.5 hours.
Really?
Yes.
And Onya, yourself?
Well, I've been doing drag for 10 years. So see, I still have, my fresh skin. I'm sorry about the loss. It takes me about an hour and a half to do my face. And it takes me about half an hour to about 40 minutes to put on the body and the outfit, etc., etc.
Now, that's not all you.
No.
Well, this is all me.
How much padding is in there?
Well, it's the power of prayer, mostly. It's a lot of sticky tape and the power of prayer. That's about it. Yeah.
And you do your own makeup?
Do my own makeup. And Onya's trained as a makeup artist, and I worked as a makeup artist for years. And funny enough, because as I say, doing this 23 years, I was the only man working on a makeup counter back in the day.
Really?
And a wee woman came up to me, and I was doing makeup, and and lots of wee women would come in at that time in awe of like this man working on a makeup counter. And she just tapped me and she was like, "Here, son." And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "Does your mummy know you do this?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Isn't that great?" And then she just walked off.
Why did you want to become a drag queen?
Well, I think for me personally, I have always been amazed by showgirls. I'm such a big fan of Bette Midler, Kylie Minogue, etc., etc. So the idea of being able to go on a stage and recreate my icons, recreate either their concerts, their music videos, or recreate maybe my favorite Disney movies, it just feels amazing to relive, in a way, your best moments.
So that's what you do on stage.
Yes, I do a lot of characteristic stuff. I do a lot of different characters like Jessica Rabbit, Ursula Sea Witch, Kylie Minogue, Bette Midler. My style of drag is very showgirly, very, extravaganza.
And you would have the outfits for all of those?
Yes, well, I'm actually a costume maker. I make a lot of my own costumes and a lot of my own outfits. And I was kind of like self-trained. I did take 1 or 2 lessons, but I find with costume making, once you learn the foundations of making a leotard, you can kind of run with it there.
Right.
Would you like a leotard made?
No, thank you.
Are you
Would
sure?
you try my hat on? No, thank you. No, no, honestly. Why did you do it?
So, funny story. Whenever I first started, there was no performing drag queens in Northern Ireland at the time.
Yes.
There was one gay bar, which was the Parliament, and then there was the Crow's Nest. So in Dublin, there was performing drag queens. There was no internet. Our shows were on cassette tape. That's, you know, how fast we've moved in such a short space of time. So no thing of RuPaul's Drag Race, anything like that. And because we'd seen these shows in Dublin, a couple of us went to, and I was doing performing arts, surprisingly. What a shocker. And we went to the bar and we said, look, could we put on like a cabaret show? And even the owner of the bar was kind of like, men dressed as women, do you think even that would be a thing? And he let us do a Sunday night, because his words were, well, it's not like you can ruin anything because we don't have anybody on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And their Sundays became, because then all of a sudden the gay scene had entertainment and a reason for people to go out. Because before that, it was just a straight lady who did karaoke for 2 hours a week on a Saturday. If she was off, there was no entertainment.
Can I ask you a question that may be inappropriate? Do you have to be gay to be a drag queen?
No,
I don't think so, no.
No, in fact, you know what? Especially in this modern age of 2022, there's loads of different types of drag queens. There's cis females who do drag, there's the trans community who do drag, there's straight men do drag, gay men do drag.
So what's the difference between a man putting on a dress and a drag queen?
Okay, so I suppose it depends on the concept. For example, you could have somebody who identifies everyday life as the opposite sex, or the sex they weren't born as but they want to be. They're putting on a dress to go out and just live a normal life and be themselves.
Yes, yes.
I'm putting on this here extravagant outfit so I can grab everyone's attention and make everyone look at me and go like, hello, is that your husband? He used to be.
And would you be introvert then if you had all the makeup off and you were back just with your male persona?
I find personally I'm kind of...
We're very similar. So, like, obviously, I know you from old, and I did some work with you in the past. I think I'm exactly the same in and out of drag. There are some people it gives them, you know, a bit of extra confidence, whereas Onya and I are both equally as fun in and out of drag. It's for us, it's our job, and it's a career, you know.
What was it like the first time you did this and went out in public?
Oh, it was nerve-wracking, but it was still fun.
Well,
you know, I kind of find, I kind of find in life anyway, whenever you try something for the first time you want to try, it is nervous, but it's important to take those risks. By taking a risk, you're taking a step into something bigger and opening new doors. If you stay safe in your small bubble or in your small town sometimes, then you're restricting yourself from evolving and improving. But by trying something brand new, going out, be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try and recreate Miss Kylie Minogue today. You're pushing your boundaries into something brand new, and who knows where your horizons can end.
Were you abused physically, personally, mentally when you started to do this?
Believe it or not, I went to a school that I probably should never have been in, and for 5 years I was brutally and mentally and physically abused and tortured. Why? For being gay. But doing drag,
so
I've never...
You know you've been gay since what age?
From I came out of my mum's womb like this. I'm the youngest of 3. My mum and dad have said if I was the eldest, I'd be an only child. So
he actually walked out with a top hat and a cane
looking for my spotlight, going right, I'm here. My mum didn't even make it up to the delivery ward. I was out and ready to rock and roll. So my school days were horrific, and it wasn't just by the pupils. It was by teachers, like some of the staff as well. They had just never seen the like of anyone like me, and I've always been very much my own person. So as I am now is what I was like at 7, 15, you know, and at whatever. So when teachers would see me, some of them would be like, what is the crack with this fella? So I remember one time I had this really bad beating, and my form teacher took me over to the year head and said, your boys have done this, and I want something done about it. And then she left, and she had white hair, and he said, like basically word for word, they call her Granny in Granny's cabin. Why? Because she's old, she looks like a granny, and they call me fat and fatty because I'm fat. They pick on you and call you gay boy, and why? And at that moment I was like, this is it, I'm on my own, I don't have an ally in this place. I couldn't tell my parents because I didn't want to come out at that point because I'm 12. I don't really want to come out in like the early 90s when we've just come off the back of all of the adverts saying that anyone that's gay is going to die and HIV and all that. So it was a very different time. So it was such a negative. It was such a negative thing, which is why I'm now an ambassador for the NSPCC and Childline, both as Marcus and in drag.
How difficult was it to tell your parents?
It wasn't difficult for me at all.
I found it very tough to come out. I realised I was gay about the age of 12. I came out when I was 17, and what I used to do to sort of try and trick everyone around me, I refused to listen to music. I refused to take part in anything I wanted to because I thought, okay, if I go for dance classes, they'll know I'm gay. If I try and be part of this musical, they'll know I'm gay. If I listen to Kylie Minogue or any songs whatsoever, they'll know I'm gay. So I literally became a very self-secluded person in my bedroom, playing games, which I still do. I love playing the video games and collecting cards, but that's a different story. But I kind of, it was quite tough coming out, I think.
Well, you two, you've been at it, 23 years, you say. You came through a time when it wasn't acceptable here. Were you abused on the street? Were you in the clubs?
Can I say something? I have always found the people of Northern Ireland to be very open and very accepting. I have found maybe people who are in positions of power to be less accepting, and they're unfortunately sometimes the ones who are the puppeteers.
Well, you look at what happened this summer. One of the drag queens, Cherry on Top, was asked to read stories to children at the Belfast Mac. And that was met with...
It's actually funny. The person who attacked Cherry also attacked me as well on social media a few months prior. So it was, and you know what the thing is with Drag Queen Story Time? You know, you're sat there in drag reading the story. If you don't want to bring your kids to Drag Queen Story Time, don't bring your kids to Drag Queen Story Time. But don't start attacking other people for bringing their kids. And whatever your next door neighbour is doing is none of your business. Focus on yourself and other people around you.
What happens in the Drag Queen storytelling, and what's so ironic, is that we've been doing it for the last 6 years with no issue at all. And parents like book a place, they bring their children to either libraries or part of the Eastside Arts Festival, and I do Portia Says, like Simon Says. And the great thing is I'm so severely dyslexic, so they're my target audience. They don't know I'm not reading the right words. So I have the book pages open and I'm just making the stories up as I go along. But I'm able to throw like wee jokes into the mums and dads, and we get the kids up dancing, and then in between each book there is movement, and you know, so it's such a fun thing. And
is the scene, I said the scene is big in Belfast at the moment. Am I right in saying that?
Oh gosh, it's huge. So literally just last week, Onya finished the final of Drag Stars 2, which they had to move upstairs. And
so busy,
and the thing about it is the talent. So I did talent shows years ago with drag queens. Nothing like every single person that took part in Onya's shows could be on TV.
They're all very different as well.
When are you going to stop dressing up like this? When are you going to stop it? Do you get to an age when you go, can't do this anymore?
Well, from my perspective, it's my full-time job. That's what I work as. So the second my legs stop working and I realise, you know what, I have so many lines underneath my eyes, I don't think even then I'll stop. I'll probably keep going. I give a partner to wheel me out and do the shows.
Love your eyelashes, by the way.
Thank you. They're actually made from little spider legs. I pick them up, pluck the wee legs, stick them on, and then afterwards, because they're very organic, I roll them back into nature.
And I guess for me, who knows? You know, it just depends on what way the cookie crumbles, you know?
I don't think there is. As long as you're having fun with the job.
Yes, there's no time limit on it.
Yeah.
There's no time limit.
And my career has been so diverse. We both do a duet show together every Saturday. But like, for example, this week I'm doing this. Tomorrow I'm hosting a dinner. And then next week I'm doing a makeup event, and you know, so like my job, like it's great, you know. I'm so only that's linoleum. I would touch wood and say I'm so blessed because it's such an amazing life. It really is.
I'll tell you what, you're two amazing people. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Onya, Becks, Lady,
Portia de Monte.
What a name! Round of applause for them. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Lady, Portia and Onya. Now, Throughout my broadcasting career, I've often prided myself in recognising new young local talent when I see and hear it. And that goes for our final guest of the night. She's just 21 years old. She's from Larne. She's a musician, a singer-songwriter. She's opened concerts for the likes of Brian Kennedy, for Hothouse Flowers, for Eddie Reader. She's even performed solo at 10 Downing Street. She's going to sing a song that she's written herself. It's called Calendar. Would you please welcome Daisie Conway.
New Year's Eve, where are you tonight? It's been 2 whole weeks since we had that nasty fight, but I keep thinking you'll be back in no time now. It's 3 months down the line, and I heard you got yourself a brand new Valentine. You took her to the place we used to go all the time before. There was no mountain to climb, but when I fell back down, you pushed my head under the water. My calendar was filled with you and me. Not a sun we wouldn't be together to see another year. But now my calendar is filled with months of misery. Not a sun we'd ever be together again or even near. 'Cause you're not here this year. Summer's here. This used to be our favorite time of year. Laughing in the ocean like the world around us had just disappeared. And then November came around. The warm night's really gone away, but still you're nowhere to be found. But we had a mountain to climb. When we both fell down, we drowned, and we both reached the water. My calendar was filled with you and me. Not a sun we wouldn't be together, see another year. But now my calendar is filled with months of misery. Not a sun we'd ever be together again or even near. 'Cause you're not here this year. Days and weeks, minutes and hours, every second that passes just feels harder. Days and weeks, minutes and hours, every second that passes just feels harder. Calendar was filled with you and me. Not a sun we wouldn't be together to see another year. Another year, my calendar is filled with months of misery. Not a sun we'd ever be together again or even near. 'Cause you're not here this year. You're not here this year. You're not here this year.
That's Daisie Conway. Daisie, thank you so much indeed. Fabulous. Her own song, Calendar. That's about it for tonight. So all that remains for me to say on behalf of everybody here at the E3 studios at the Belfast Metropolitan College, thanks so much for your company. Until the next time, bye-bye everybody. Bye-bye.